What is something that is considered socially acceptable if you're conventionally attractive but socially unacceptable if you are not? Being happy somehow. I've had multiple people look at me with an angry look because I'm smiling and enjoying myself. I'm not that attractive and I've seen these exact people smile at attractive people being happy versus me. I do not understand why. I saw a video the other day of some nerdy couple at a high school flirting in a weird way and everyone was like, ew gross PDA can you not? But I saw another video of some attractive high school couple where he's like tall and pushing her against a locker about to kiss her and all the comments are about wanting that or I would have folded and quat. Literally anything. People want to befriend and be around beautiful people so the tolerance of forgiveness has almost no bottom. If you're attractive people will believe anything you tell them. If you're ugly you will be doubted. People won't want to believe what you have to say. Truly sad. Maybe this isn't the case for the rest of the world but this has been my observed experience throughout my whole life. Acting dumb and helpless. There was a social experiment about an attractive stranded woman on the road with a broken down car compared to a less attractive woman. The first woman received a lot more help from pedestrians than the other. Talking to people the opposite gender, asking on dates, etc. If you're pretty, they'll feel flattered they were asked out. If you're not, they'll be creeped out and uncomfortable. Dating someone who is conventionally attractive. If you're of comparable attractiveness, then no one bats an eye. If there is a significant disparity, there are often assumptions that the other is incredibly wealthy or something. Fashion. Maybe not socially unacceptable, but I've seen many fat people be mocked for the same outfit people call cute on someone skinny. As a conventionally attractive person, subjectively, I'd have to say that everything attractive people do is more socially acceptable. Everything. Revealing clothing.edit/ since this has 1 or 2 upvotes let me clarify my comment. I did not imply or state any judgment, preference, etc. I only answered Op's question. C. Being the protagonist in some Twilight fans' creepy rape fantasy novel that gets turned into a billion-dollar franchise. Do you support taxing people just to keep them from getting too rich? As a dollar goes through the economy, from buyer to seller to employee to seller, most of it ends in the pockets/hands of the wealthy, and just a tiny but for the reset of us. By taxing the rich and spending it on infrastructure, consumer protection, CDC, welfare, etc. government slow the transfer of wealth to the rich. Progressive taxes, taxing richer people more, produces the greatest wealth growth for rich, middle class, and poor. Rich or poor, if you want to get wealthier, support taxing the rich. It's about laying their share. How much damage do Amazon trucks cause on infrastructure? How much would it be different if there wasn't a million delivery vans running 10 hours a day? That alone should have taxes to offset the costs of fixing the roads. You drive on public roads, send your kids to public school, are protected by a military and law enforcement, have firefighters ready to go, have clean water and safe food. Taxes are about paying your fair share for things we all need or use. I used to have this convo with no taxers and told them they don't have to pay, but they cannot use any public service like roads, schools and hospitals. Plus they have to find their own way to making sure their food and water are safe. Punishing people for success is a surefire way to make people not try. The idea that the rich and corporations don't pay their fair share is a broken mantra because we have tax info and they pay the lion's share of taxes already. If you want to get the country's financial situation under control, you have to reduce expenditures. All of this talk, eat the rich, tax them, limit their ability to make money, it's all based on people in the middle who are mad at people who are successful when they've never tried. Poor people like me don't care because we are just trying to live our lives and improve our situations as we can. Some dude having billions in wealth, not cash, means jack squat to me and doesn't impact my life. The issue becomes the mechanism to do this. Most billionaires' wealth is hoarded in stock. Stock can dramatically increase and decrease in worth, and is relatively illiquid for the most part. Elon Musk can't sell all his Tesla shares for cash tomorrow because it would dramatically alter the price. This leaves the awkward, you can be exorbitantly wealthy in assets, but cash poor. Are you going to force a company owner to give up ownership of their company because it would make them too rich? And quat. Nope. Normally I don't do this, but I'd much rather hear the argument for why this inane policy would ever be considered a good idea. Just thinking through how this policy would be implemented is a mess. Are you seriously going to suggest that if somehow the threshold for too rich was determined and agreed upon, which is a massive if, somehow it's acceptable to earn $1 less than the threshold but morally repugnant to exceed the threshold? Like, what? What goes best with coffee? I can't believe I haven't seen this response yet, so I'll throw in mine. Nothing goes better with a cup of coffee than a good book. Throughout all the most stressful or sad times in my life, it's one thing that never fails to put me at ease. It's also my favorite way to start the morning. Trust me on this one. A vanilla latte and a pack of those rectangular chocolate biscuits that have milk chocolate on one side, and then a sort of rich tea biscuit style biscuits on the other side. I don't know what they're called but they usually come in packs of 9. One of those wintry mornings where the air is a little too cold and crisp to breathe in, a slight mist in the air and it's really early, just getting light. It's the beginning of a long time off work and no one is around or up yet. The fridge is rammed with food. It's quiet except for birds and the distant sounds of other people being busy, but not you. You're still in pajamas and have thrown that thick comfy dressing gown on, gone downstairs to grab some perfectly made coffee while standing just outside the door with the steam rising out into the sky. True calm, relaxing, slow. You can feel the cold in your feet from the paving underneath but you don't mind because this is bliss. Fresh air, like the really fresh air on the top of a mountain, and a good pastry, sweet or savory. Chocolate croissant or a huge omelet with mushrooms, bacon, onions and peppers. Or a more out-of-the-box answer, cold, because the coffee will warm you up and you will feel all the happiness. Black pudding, the peppery spiciness of it really pops when washed down with a strong black coffee. Crushing your enemies, seeing them driven before you, and hearing the lamentations of their women. 1 moment of silence, good night's sleep and a performance bonus plus a paid leave. A sanctimonious attitude towards any other way people enjoy their coffee. A scoop of ice cream, chocolate, whipped cream, those are the best ones. I got the right answer, a rich apple strudel with lots of cream on top. Cake, really anything sweet, but cake or pie are great with coffee. This time of year, an apple cider donut is nice with coffee. Chocolate goes so well with coffee that it became its own drink. Biscuit, bacon on a crisp late October early November day. My fave is an Americano with a lemon cranberry scone. Women who have left relationships of 10 plus years, what was that final straw? I left after 24 years, should have long before that, but was scared to I guess and worried how I would take care of my children with them still being underage at the time. But the defining moment is when my best friend dies unexpectedly and I was trying to organize her funeral and needed to take all my kids to get outfits for the funeral and also meet her husband at the funeral home to pick up her ashes when my ex got a hair up his ran off on my only vehicle at the time, then when got home asked me what the was my problem. It wasn't like it was any other regular day, he didn't see the big deal in it. When my grandmother became ill, then was at hospital for 2 weeks, and finally passed away. He responded to my texts about her being in serious condition etc. Still, we were long distance, but around her death, my ex no longer checked his messages and only over 1 full week later he sent me a "oh sorry didn't read your texts" and quote. I had really needed him during this time. This really showed me that he really no longer cared about me. After I broke up with him, he wanted me back, but demanded I come stay with him for 6 months on an extended visa, and over Christmas. I no longer felt safe staying for so long with a guy who was fine breaking up etc. so I told him no. Then he was gone. I didn't leave a relationship of 10 plus years, but my best friend is going through this right now. And according to her, the final straw was when he brought his GF. It was an open relationship, to my house, when the rules were that their house and mine were off limits. My house was included cause it's pretty much my beastie's second home. She has keys to mine like I have keys to hers. We come and go as we please. Anyways, he broke the rule and saw nothing wrong with it. They got into a fight over it and untimely he asked her to take off the ring. She threw it at him and left. It was such a small thing. The kids had been acting up, and I told them that they wouldn't be able to go to the park with their dad when he got home. When he arrived, I told him what had happened. Not 5 minutes later the 3 of them are heading out the door to the park. My then 6-year-old turned to me when he reached the door and said sorry mom before joining his brother and his dad. I can't do this anymore. He was never going to back me up, never support me. I was turning into someone I didn't like, a bitter, angry woman. That was the beginning of the end. Together 13 years, mentally checked out a few years before I left him. But the final straw was the last month I was with him. My job is seasonal, and I was staying late to work one night. He texted me asking what I was doing and I gave him a vague answer about a dress I was sewing. Then he asked a couple follow-up questions and I broke down. He hadn't taken any interest in my job in years. I had wanted casual conversation so bad for so long. But in that moment I realized I didn't care anymore. It was way too late for him to be putting in effort. Which couple would be the best representation of your desired relationship? My great-grandparents. They were married for 56 years and fit together like coffee and cream. They raised 3 daughters, with only 1 bathroom, and a son. They loved each other through every circumstance, and even when angry at one another he would still kiss her on the forehead before he left for work. When she died he lost himself for a while and nearly followed her a few months later. My parents and in-laws. Mine married 60 years. His married 56 years before her death. Both sets best friends with each other, absolutely in love, totally supportive of each other no matter what. Both sets married as teenagers, both struggled financially while young, yet they remained true and truly in love, raised their kids, worked, and both always were just so happy and fun and full of joy, even when times were tough. We've been married almost 30 years, but they are my gold standard. If we're talking celebrity couples, then maybe Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. These two seem to have made it in the entertainment industry. But if we also include regular folks, Pierce Brosnan and his wife and Hugh Jackman and his spouse. First, because they work in an industry that is known to be cutthroat and vicious and spit out parts of the people it chews up. It's a good indication of them as people that they've managed to stay married, happily it seems, through all of this. And second, because they're married to regular people, which again shows that they must be willing to work to keep their relationship going amidst gossip, work commitments, changing lives, public interest etc. I don't really have a goal couple, but if I had to pick, I'd say Ben and Andy from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. He's very understanding, calm demeanor, witty, and understands her quirks, so I'd say them. They balanced one another out. Also love their chemistry and how they interact. Very flirty and seemed like a great pair. I know it's fictional but I love them together. Schmidt and Cece from New Girl. He wanted her from day one and never gave up. Did the impossible for her and never complained once. He became a sod and let her work. Supported her through school and bartending when they weren't together. Waited for her after her failed relationships. He knows her like no one else. The dynamic is all I've ever wanted. Lol. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively seems like my ideal couple. This interview with Ryan is so good, it goes something like this: I love my wife and would take bullets to protect her. But when our baby was born I knew I would use my wife as a human shield to protect that baby and quat. That's the kind of energy I want from my future husband. Fictional, Nicole and Waverly from Winona Earp. They fit our aesthetic, personalities, and sexual orientation. Real, a tie between her parents and my dad's. Her parents are college sweethearts who think the world of the other even after 25 years. My dads have been together for 20 and they're just the best of friends.